Hey guys, it's Marshall with you again. I'm doing a quick video. I've been asked a couple times about some of the changes and features of the Quest 2.0 plugin that's running on the Legends Persistent World right now. And I guess I wanted to just showcase a couple of the new changes that are on the plugin for 2.0. There's a lot of bug fixes. I'm not going to get into all the bug fixes, but there's been a significant number of bug fixes and updates, and a lot of new features added to help make the Quest plugin a little bit more configurable, to make it a little bit more user friendly. Things like that. So I just wanted to go through a couple of the new features just to showcase them before release. Again, I don't have a release date, but it should be pretty soon. We're just testing and tuning right now. One of the new features of 2.0 was actually showcased in a previous video. I released a video a couple of weeks ago regarding a race that had a timer bar associated to it. That is a new feature for 2.0. You can now assign timers to quests. You can assign it to an NPC. You can have another NPC turn off the timer. You can set it up for an objective. So, for example, if an NPC asks you, go fill up this bucket with water, but there's a hole in it, so the water drains out over a certain amount of time, you could have the player go and fill up the bucket with water, but the action of filling up that bucket could start a timer. And if you don't, use the bucket on, say, a fire that might be burning before the timer expires, then you may have to go back and try again. So that's a new feature, just basically timers, time-based quests with timer bars. So I'm not going to go through that because the other video kind of demonstrates what one looks like. But I will go through some of the other changes. One big change, and this one was totally based on playtester feedback, was that when they play on the Legends Persistent World, there are a lot of quests. Literally, because fighting doesn't give you experience on Legends Persistent World, doing quests does. There's a lot of quests. There's hundreds of quests, and one of the some of the feedback I got was, I can't keep track of all these quests. Like, I have a journal, but I don't have time to read every single quest. I don't know which quest is important. I don't know which quest is, part of an overarching story, and which one is a FedEx or a side quest. So I was confused. So my playtester was confused about which quest, she really wanted to pay attention to versus which one she kind of, was lax on, didn't really need to read all the little bitty details about it. So there was a challenging balance to know which one. So what I did is, with her input, I created some new Quest plugin features. So what I'm going to do quickly, I'll just show you using the Quest tab. These are basically all the quests, and the problem was, I don't know which one of these quests is a side quest, and I don't know which one is a big overarching story that I really should be paying attention to. So what we did is we created what's now called stories, and stories are big quests. They're basically plots, big major adventures, and you don't typically have a lot of them. There's only a couple of them. Quests, now you can consider them as side quests. So when you're creating a quest, what you do, if you want to create just like a side quest, you just do it the same way you always would. You go, file, new quest. However, if you want to create a story, and basically all a story is a chain of quests, a group of quests that are put together one after another, that the player can do, and it represents a larger plot that you can track and organize. So, for example, I could have, quest 1 say, go investigate this ruined temple. And you go and investigate the ruined temple, and you find a cultist in there, and your quest could be finished. That first quest, that could be like quest 1 of a story. After you've done that, you could have a second quest to say, stop the cultist, and a player could potentially, go kill the demon that they've resurrected, or they could go kill the high priest of the area, and either way they'd finish that particular quest. And then as a result of that particular quest, a third quest would open up, and that third quest could be completely different depending on which choice they chose in quest number 2. When you put all that together, that's called a story. So in the quest plugin, you can go in and you go file new story and create a story, and then when you create your individual quests, you can assign them to a story and you can give them a sequence. So you can say, this is quest number 1 of the sequence and it belongs to this story. So that's what we did here. And now when you go into your journal, you can select quests to see all your side quests. That there may be these may be chain quests too, but they're just not as important enough to really create an overarching story. They're really classified as side quests. And in stories, you'd have something a little smaller. You'd have a lot less of them. And they represent an important chain of quests. So while regular quests, they still behave the same way, you still have objectives and all that, stories work very similarly. You'll notice in regular quests, you'll see the quest title here in the list, and you'll also see the quest title here. However, in stories, your stories will actually have a different name. So this story here is called The Brotherhood, for example. And the particular quest in the Brotherhood story that I'm on right now is called Fall of the Brotherhood. So you can see, that's the quest I'm doing right now, and it's defeat this Damia Morgan person. What's cool about stories is that I can actually click on review, and when I click review, what happens is it gives me all the historical quests that were in this story that I've already completed, including the one I'm currently on. It won't show me any future quests that might be in this story. It just shows me what I've done. So I know that looking back, this Injured Stranger quest was the very first quest that started this story. And it started with a guy named Stephen Clear, and this is what he said when I first found him and I first started this story. And in this particular quest, Injured Stranger, this was the last guy of that quest, and this is the last thing he was said before I finished this quest. And then I moved on to Thinning Ranks. So these are actually in order in which they were done. So then I moved on to Thinning the Ranks, and Rainer Fox told me this when he offered me the quest, but when I finished the quest, he offered me this, and so on and so forth. So basically, it kind of just progressed. All these quests were part of this story called The Brotherhood. And again, the very last one in the list here is this Fall of the Brotherhood, where I am right now. Obviously, I have no finish because I'm on it right now, so there's no finisher yet until I actually complete the quest. But I believe this is the last quest of this story, so completing this would erase the story anyway. So that's one of the major changes, is just creating these stories. Now, in relation, and I'll get through these other buttons shortly, in relation to these, you can also identify stories by their offer. So here's a guy in this tavern who has a regular old side quest. So if I go talk to him, I see the standard offer, I see the eye, and I see the title of the quest and what he wants me to do. This tells me that this is just a standard quest. It's a side quest that goes in here. However, this person over here, she has an actual story for me, a brand new story. So I go talk to her, and I'll see a little different. I don't see the eye up here. I see this symbol here instead. And also underneath the title, it tells me this is a story called The Witch, or this is the beginning of a story called The Witch. So when I go and accept this guy's quest, Fallen Comrades, I'll hit accept. I'll bring up my journal. My stories haven't changed, but in here, I'll now see this quest called Fallen Comrades. So it's just a regular quest. Nothing unusual about it. However, if I go here now and accept her quest called Patrolling the Landing, but it's a story called The Witch, I'll hit accept and I say accepted new story. But now when I come in here, my journal, I'll see a new story listed here. That Patrolling the Landing will not show up in this quest list. It's actually in stories. So I click The Witch and I see the quest Patrolling the Landing. Now this is the first quest in this story. And I can hit review, and all it's going to show me is the current quest I'm on. I don't know what other quests are coming in the future, but this is the very first quest of that. Another new feature that we've added is the ability to abort quests. So any quest that you're in the middle of that you just, you're tired of doing, you don't want to finish doing it, you can just select it and hit the abort button. You'll get a confirmation box. Actually, I'll just abort the one that I just took, Fallen Comrades. So you can see this guy's quest bag is not lit up or anything because I'm currently on his quest for Fallen Comrades. So what I'll do is I'll just find his quest. I'll hit abort. I'll hit confirm that I want to abort that quest. And then bam, the quest is aborted, and his quest bag actually relights up saying, you know what, if you want, you can come back and restart it again and get it back into your journal. So you can now abort quests easily. One thing to note about aborting quests, for example, if I was on the witch quest here, and I was obtaining these Shortfoot Gnoll Paws, and maybe I got halfway through, I got 4 of 8 or something, and I aborted the quest, I would lose the 4 Gnoll Paws that was given to me. So you actually lose all the items that you collected throughout the quest, because if you restart the quest, it wants you to start it from the beginning again. So that's just kind of one thing to note about aborting quests. Another thing that we've done is we've made all of these buttons on the bottom of the quest journal dynamic. So you no longer have a quest journal that forces all these buttons on you, deeds and collections, because some persistent worlds won't use all of these types of quests. So in the plugin now, what you'll get in the configuration is you'll get a bunch of pull downs, and they'll be marked buttons 1 through 5. So you'll see button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4, button 5. And you actually choose what you want to put in those buttons, and the options are stories, quests, lore books, collections, and deeds. So for example, if you don't have a world with quests, you only want to use stories and say deeds, you can actually say button 1 is going to be stories, button 2 will be deeds, and buttons 3, 4, and 5 be nothing. And then what you'll get is you'll actually get 2 buttons right in the center here, one called stories and one called deeds, and these other buttons won't even appear anymore. You can also set the order too. If you want deeds to show up first and you want, stories here or stories on the end, you can dynamically change all that through the plugin now. So for worlds that are, not using collections, it kind of doesn't make sense to have the collections button on the journal, so you can take it off now. Another new feature that we added was the tracking button. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just go outside and show how the tracking works. You can now track a quest live, so that you don't have to keep referring back to your journal. So say you're on an important quest or a quest that you just want to keep an eye on. I'm here and I'm in my journal, and I know, I have to collect 8 Gnoll Paws, and, every time I collect one, I'll see a message, collected 1 of 8 kind of thing. But let's just say I always want to keep tabs on this particular quest. I can hit the track button, and what happens is this quest comes up now in the quest tracker dialog, which is up here in the top right, and you can move all these things around now. These are not stuck on your screen anymore. All of these panels you can move around. So now that I'm tracking this particular quest, I can see what my objectives are. And I can change it to whatever quest I want. If I want to do Ronan the Librarian, and I know in this I've got to collect a whole bunch of books, I can hit track, and it'll show me all of the current objectives that I have to do just to keep an eye on things. And then of course it'll update as we go. So if I come along and I find myself a gnoll, which I know there's some up here, it'll update as I find these Gnoll Paws. So I'm just going to demonstrate that really quick. Here's one. So let's just go over here and get this gnoll. Now I'm a high level character, so this fight does not pose any real issue for me, and I'll loot that quest remains. Another thing is these quest bags for quest remains, they only appear now if the system knows you need it. So if you're not on a quest for a particular creature and you loot one, you kill a creature that has a quest associated to it in the past, even if you weren't on the quest, it would oh, and that guy is resisted, so I just have to run away from him and he'll disappear in a second because he's just bugged. See, there he goes, he's gone. That's another 2.0 bug fix of the AI plugin. Sometimes they go immortal like that, and they just disappear after a while. They don't hurt you or anything. Anyway, as I was saying, those quest bags will only spawn now if the system knows you're on the quest and it knows you need them. So you don't end up with these quest bags all over the place all the time for defeating monsters that just happen to be part of someone else's quest. But as you can see, my little quest tracker here is now updated 1 of 8, so I can see that live all the time. And then of course, if I just, if I want to close it, I'll just hit the X and make it go away. But I can, always just go back in here to my journal and hit track again to bring it back up anytime I want. So that's just some of the new features of the Quest 2.0 plugin. I hope to release it in the very near future. And thanks for watching the video.